Welcome back to Jessica's Craft Time. My name's Jessica, and it feels like forever since I was on here and chatting to you all. I did miss last week, but my last 2 weeks have been crazy busy. Luckily, I did, for you guys, upload some videos in advance, so you've still been getting some videos. But for me, filming, I haven't touched the camera for over a week, and not since my last Whip and Chat, which I was actually not at home for. So we'll get into all of that, but I thought I'd show you some of the progress on some of the things I've done. I haven't done a lot because it's been crazy busy, so I'll do that. Then I'll pause you, set up my diamond painting, and we'll do some diamond painting while I chat about what's been going on in my house. So I had done a little bit more on my beaded embroidery. This is what I did when I did the beaded embroidery, and I was going up, one down. I just actually found the instruction. I was meant to be going up, round, and sort of doing like a figure eight kind of thing, which I hadn't. I was just going up and down, and they weren't sitting very well. You can see, if I move this, you can see here they're all sort of like not sitting the right way. And I kept going up here, and it wasn't until around about here that I decided to change how I was doing it, and they're sitting much nicer. So what I was doing, whether this is the right way or wrong, it's whatever you feel like, but what I was doing was where we had like 3 beads, I was coming up, putting my 3 beads on, going back down, and then coming up next to one of the beads. You're not going to be able to see it on the back, but coming up next to one of the beads and just looping between the beads to secure them in place, and that was able to give me a bit of a curve. All the beads are sitting much nicer. Now, if you watch my beaded embroidery video, you would have seen I spilt my beads everywhere. I have continued to do that. I was going to work a section at the time, but I keep spilling my beads. I don't have many left here to finish, and I've got a fair bit here, so I'm thinking the turtle is meant to be this golden color. I might have to dig through my sea beads and see if I can find something similar, because I do think I'm going to run out. That's not the company's fault. That's just me being spaz and knocking my tray everywhere. So I haven't worked out the best way to do it, other than putting only a few beads in a tray at a time. I'm really clumsy and keep spilling them. They are still all over the floor in my garage, so I haven't cleaned the floor yet, purely because I want to get to the end and see if I can salvage enough beads to finish. I did spill them in my couch, got as many as I could. The amount of times Mark's been round, crawling on the floor, looking for beads, but it's been fun so far. So I've done a little bit of that. So that's the first thing. I've also completed a case. Now I've just got my little travel diamond painting kit in here, but it's like a glasses case. It's a little bit felt backed. This has come from Shoalhaven Sparklies. I really like it, and I don't wear glasses, and I have sunglasses, but I'm shocking at throwing them around and getting them scratched, so I only ever buy cheap ones. If you had someone that had glasses, it would be perfect, but it's my perfect little travel kit. I've got some cover minders, some wax, a little bin, my sticky mat, my pen, and my tray. So it's been a perfect little travel kit. So with that, I also completed my bee, which was in my last Whip and Chat. This is from Shoalhaven as well. I completed this one last night, which is really pretty. I really like it. This only took me 2 nights, not very long. You could do it in 1 night, depending how long you sit down and do it. But it was really nice to actually complete a project. Because we are in March and I have only completed these 2, I haven't done much diamond painting at all. It was really nice to complete a project. These are really good because you can get frames. When you're in Australia, you can get frames from Spotlight, and I think Kmart sell them, that perfectly fit. So it says a 30 by 30, but these are 24 by 24, and the little square frames perfectly fit these. So they're a great little one to frame and gift or pop around your house. Now, the other big thing that I've completed and I'm up to date, this won't go up until Thursday, which there'll be another release, but I am up to date with, is my Peppermint Purple SAL. So I've done, what is it, week 9, that was this one here, and I really, really love it. I've completed my border. So now just every Wednesday when it's released, I print it off and keep going with my square. So I'm really, really happy. I fell behind by 2 weeks, but I'm really happy to be back up on track. I'm going with her colorway. I got the thread pack with my little cover needle minder, and I've done my border. So this is a really nice one that it's just, you know, an hour or so sitting there stitching. I've never done black work before, and I really love it, especially when I was doing the border, because I wasn't having to think about it. I wasn't having to go back to the pattern. Once I got in the swing of things and worked out which ways all my lines went, I was able to take it up to school pickup and sit in the car and wait and do it that way. So that's my Peppermint Purple. And I'll link that below the Facebook group for that. You can join whenever you like. The pattern's released every week. I thought I'd just show you this. So this is what I took away with me. And I've got 2 kits. So this was the glasses case, and this is my B. So I just have these little cases, which I find are really, really great for small projects. And I have them numbered 1 to 16 and 1 to 12 will fit in one case. And then because with the smaller sparkly kits, I tend to do all of the same color at once. You can see all the leftover drills in there. So I just pop any extras into the numbered spot, and because you always miss 1 or 2, there was a couple of the 8s I missed. I had to come back and do it. And then what I'll do is I've got an old tin, it's an old biscuit tin that I've divided, and I use cardstock dividers, and I don't store them by number. I basically just go through and try and marry up. Like I have the small drills here in one section, then I have the slightly bigger ones, those ones in the next section, and I slightly marry up the colors. That way I can keep them, and if I ever want to do some extra work on add some extra bling to a diamond painting, I can go through that box and I have them there. So that has been what I've done, which is not a lot over the last 2 weeks, but I did manage to get a little bit of crafting time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause you. I'm going to set up my big T-Rex diamond painting, and we'll chat about what's been going on. I'll be back in a second. Okay, this one hasn't been out for a while, but this is my T-Rex from Crystal Canvas. I've got my tray from Next Door Maker, which I love. Got my tin from Enabler's Outpost, and my pen. And the wax is a thank you wax. I'm not sure from where, so I think that was a Shoalhaven one. This one is all in baggies because it came in baggies. I've just got sort of like a divide, half down one. Not a huge fan of working on baggies because I don't like having to look at my key all the time, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there slowly. So let's work on number 4 because I can see quite a few, so I don't have to think about it. I can just chat and dot away. And it looks like my wax is still good. I will probably have to change my wax at some point because it's been sitting here for a long while in my pen without being used, but at the moment it seems to be working well. So I'd like to welcome all my lovely new subscribers. Thank you very, very much for hitting that subscribe button. It means so much to me. I can't believe I'm at 100 already. Over 100. It's just wow for me. It just really is. Now I might just put this here because I don't think there's any 4s there, or else I'm going to get my hands stuck to it. Yeah, it means the absolute world to me. So thank you so very much for everyone that has hit that subscribe button. I hope you enjoy the contents on my page, and if there is anything on my channel, and if there is anything that you would like to see, please let me go. I know I promised a paint pouring, and I'm working on it. I'll explain. I haven't had time to sit down and do anything, so it's coming. It's coming. Life's been pretty busy. So, since I last spoke to you, well, I did chat a little bit last time, and I was in a different setting, and it probably wasn't the best camera or lighting or wobbling, but I was actually away at Port Macquarie. So, Port Macquarie is north of me in New South Wales. It's north. It's about 4.5, 5 hour drive north to where we are. And the reason we headed up there, so I had my brother here, which I'm pretty sure I had a little bit of a chat about in my last Wip and Chat. It was so lovely to see him. But my husband does consultancy work, and he's got a permanent job once every 2 months for 2 days in Port Macquarie. Unfortunately, in the future, they're looking at having him like a Tuesday, Wednesday, but this month had already been booked in, and it was a Thursday, Friday. So Mark had a couple of days off school, and we joined hubby in Port Macquarie. He worked the Thursday, Friday, and then we had the weekend in Port Macquarie together, which was really great. Took the opportunity to do that. His work was fine with him taking his own vehicle, and because I had to drive on the way up, being a work trip for him, it would have put him over his daily hours that he was allowed to work. So I drove up, because we drove up Wednesday night. We got in really late, about 11 p.m. Wednesday night. And yeah, we had Thursday, Friday, which were quite nice days. And then Saturday just teemed with rain, and then Sunday was an okay day as well. So that was really nice to get away. It was the first time Mark stayed in a motel room. And the motel we stayed in was an older motel. The decor was a bit outdated, but it was all really clean, and the staff were really, really lovely. I had a chat to the cleaners every morning, and they were all very helpful. So it was only about 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. So it was warm, but it wasn't overly warm. But Mark found out they had a pool. So guess what we did every day? We swam in the pool. And he's just starting to learn to swim independently without any floaties or any floating devices to keep him upright. So he had a ball. So the Thursday, what did we do? Oh, we got up and we had to do some schoolwork because he was missing out on school. So I made sure he did a little bit of schoolwork. Oh, that's what happened. Wednesday night, I was meant to get up and take hubby to work in the morning, and I couldn't. We stopped for Macca's on the way up because it was really late by the time we left. And we were going to get in really late, so we stopped for Macca's, and by the time we went to bed about 1, by 2 a.m. I woke up, and it was not pretty. I had a very, very, very upset tummy. By the time hubby woke up and realised I'd been up and down from the bed, he's like, damn, I don't have any tablets for you. And I had my essential oils, and about 4:30 in the morning, I'd been up since 2. I put some of them on my tummy, and that settled me enough to go to sleep. But it wasn't until the next morning I sort of nudged hubby and said, look, you're just going to have to take yourself to work. We'll work out how to get the car later in the day so Mark and I can go out, or we're just going to have to walk places. Like, I can't leave the toilet. Anyway, he gets to work, and then he calls me about an hour later. He's like, how are you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling a bit drained. I was just really tired and feeling drained. And he's like, guess what? I'm like, what? well, those tablets you wanted, because I'm like, you're going to have to pick me tablets up. He'd called and said that he'd come home on his lunch break. I'm like, you're going to have to pick me tablets. There's a chemist not far I can see on Google, but I can't go that far. I can't walk that far. You know, I'm going to end up needing the toilet again. So he calls me. It's like, you know those tablets you wanted? Well, the whole time they were sitting in the room in his work bag. I'm like, damn it. So he came home, gave me some tablets. That sort of settled me enough that I was able to drop him back at work. And Mark and I went out for a bit. So we went down the beach and we saw this stick, this driftwood in the sand up ahead of us. And it looked like a goanna. So that was pretty cool. We went up and took photos of that and walked along the beach, and along the rocks on the beach, people go and paint. So we had a look at some of them, and he climbed all over these rocks and, you know, ran in and out of he didn't want to go swimming. He just ran down to where the water came in and then ran back out when the water came in. So that was fun. And then there was a little park up there. So we went up to the park and had a bit of a play in the park until there was another couple of dads that came with their kids, and the kids were there was some mushrooms growing. We were sitting on a retaining wall and there was some mushrooms growing behind the retaining wall. And I said to the kids, now make sure you don't touch the mushrooms, because I have no idea which ones are good mushrooms and which ones aren't. I'm like, you don't touch the mushrooms. Don't ever touch mushrooms. They can make you very, very sick. And Mark's like, but I can touch the mushrooms with my bubba. I'm like, yes, if you're out mushroom picking with your bubba, you can, because bubba knows which ones you can eat and which ones you can't. I'm like, just they'll make you really, really sick. And then one of the dads sort of piped up and said, oh, you can have the time of your life. I'm like, yeah, that. But I still don't know which ones are which. So just don't touch the mushrooms. And they were running around playing. And Mark's getting heavy. He's like 25 kilos now. He's just turned 5. Yay. He's so happy he's a big boy, but all of a sudden wants to be carried like a baby to bed and to the toilet and out of bed in the morning. But they were running around and he jumped up on the retaining wall and whacked his knee, and he must have whacked it pretty hard because he's a pretty tough kid. He'll go, oh, that hurts, and like, oh, and then that's it. He's up and playing again. But I picked him up and had him in my lap, and he was screaming blue murder. I'm like, right, that's it. Time to go back to the motel. And he's going, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. So picked him up, and the dads were really good. They're like, do you want me to carry him? I'm like, no, it's all right. My car's not that far. So they jumped up and opened the gate for me and put him in the car, and he just wanted to go home. And as soon as we got back to the motel, he's like, can I go swimming now? He was fine. He didn't, like, it must have hurt, you know, when you knock like your funny bone, but he must have like knocked his kneecap or something on the edge of the wood retaining wall. So we had some lunch and went swimming, which, oh, that's what we had to do. We had to go out and find pool noodles because I forgot the boogie board. Mummy forgot the books to read at night. That's what we did first thing. Maybe the park was Friday. Yeah, I think the park was Friday. So Thursday, after Mummy started feeling better, Mummy had forgotten the books to read at night. And Mummy had forgotten the boogie board. But it's okay. Mummy remembered the food, and Mummy remembered the schoolwork, and Mummy remembered a diamond painting, but she forgot the boogie board. She forgot the stories, and he has his story every night before bed, and he really likes it. So I said, okay, well, Mummy's feeling a little bit better. Let's go op shopping. And he loves going op shopping. And all the op shops around home here are like a business now, and everything's quite expensive. Like, I remember buying a pair of gumboots when I first came here, and they were like $5. I'm like, I'm sure they're only like $7 in the shops brand new. So we went op shopping, and luckily there was like 3 or 4 op shops that we could just walk the block. And the first one we went into, we got this big stack of books, and he got a ball, I think. Yes, he got the ball in the first one. And he was wrapped, and I was wrapped because it cost $3. It's like, yes. The next one, I don't think we found anything. And the last one we went into that day, we found 2 books, and then that cost me $3.50. I'm like, such a huge difference in the prices between op shops. I mean, the first one I went into, there was a couple of chapter books that were like 20 cents each. I'm like, yep, I'll grab those ones, because even if he doesn't read them now, he will in the future. So that was the op shop. We went to the supermarket, we went to the op shop, we went back home, and then we went swimming on... Oh, no, then we had to go to Kmart because we needed to buy some pool noodles. He wanted pool noodles for the pool, and I'm glad I did, because they're like $2 each, and it gives him a little bit more independence in the pool, because he's not... He can swim a little bit unaided, but he likes to just float around the pool and kick, and I quite like a pool noodle to lay on or sit on and float in the pool. The pool wasn't very deep. I could stand up, but it's still, you know, he still likes to sort of float in the pool. So we went and got the pool noodles and went swimming. And of course, as soon as I'm like, right, checked with hubby, yep, what time will you finish? Okay, I'm going to finish at like 3 o'clock or something. So I'm like, right, we've got time for a swim. And I think we were in the pool about 15 minutes before my phone rang, and it's hubby going, I finished early, can you come pick me up? I'm like, we just got in the pool. So got out of the pool, had a shower. Mark's skin reacts to some chemicals in pools, especially public pools. So I always like to shower him straight after the pool to make sure he doesn't get a rash. So showered him, got in the car, went down to pick hubby up, and then we all came back, and I'm like, right, hubby's turn in the pool with Mark. And then it must have started raining a little bit. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm getting wet sitting by the pool. I'm going to go back to our room. And then they didn't show up. So I went back around there. It stopped raining and just got in my dress, because the thought of putting wet bathers on was not exciting me at all. So hard getting wet bathers back on. So that was a fun first day. And I love my Tupperware. It's very bad that one of my good friends is a Tupperware consultant, because I see everything. But I love my Tupperware, which was great because we had a microwave in the room, and I'd taken some plates and cups, because I'm like, how can, if we eat out at every meal, 1, it's not good for you, 2, it costs a lot of money. So I had made spaghetti bolognese, or bolognese sauce, at home before we'd left. We'd had it like, I think we had it Tuesday night or something. So I took that with us. And with my Tupperware pasta cooker, I was able to cook us up some pasta in the microwave, heat the sauce up, and we had dinner, which was great. And then I used the grill to make bacon and eggs one morning, all with the microwave. And it was all, I was able to take food that we just had at home, and, you know, it doesn't cost much to make bacon and eggs from scratch, but would have cost us over $50 to go out and actually buy bacon and eggs somewhere. So that was a bit of fun. Then the second day we went to the beach and the park, and then we swam in the afternoon. And yet again, I'd spoken to hubby, what time are you finishing this time? Great. Got back, I'm like, yep, we've got time for like a half an hour swim. And like 10 minutes in, he calls, can you come pick me up? So that was all right. Went and picked him up. Came back and had another swim. And then Saturday, I think it drizzled a bit both days. But that wasn't stopping Mark. He's like, there's a pool, I'm swimming. I'm like, okay. It was a little bit chilly getting in, but that was fine. And then Saturday we got up, and that must have been the morning that we had bacon and eggs, so we're a little bit later leaving the apartment. And the rain, you know, stopped a little bit, so we're like, this is our chance, let's go. Spoke to the cleaner, and she suggested somewhere to go that was unfortunately closed, but we're like, okay, there's also the Port Macquarie Museum near there. we had to find something indoors. So as we left the motel, the skies opened up and it was absolutely teeming down. I'm like, great, we've come on a holiday and now it's just going to rain. Mark and I have had 2 days, but now hubby's with us and it's just raining. So hubby does know a few places in Port Macquarie because he's been there before for work. He's like, we got into town, found what we were looking for, and he's like, right, there's a shopping centre car park near that. Let's go there. We should be able to walk through the shopping centre and pop out where we need to be. And of course, the skies had opened up just then. So the car park, it took forever to find a park. People were just like dawdling. I'm like, there's queues of people trying to get in. Just let us in. And then as the escalators came down to in the shopping centre, there was Target and a toy sale out the front. So we had to go in there and we found some Christmas presents, some Easter presents, and Mark found some things he wanted. So then we had to go back up to the car and get rid of all the stuff that we just purchased, which was fine. We got rid of it all. What colour do I want to do? T 23. So we finally went to this first place that she suggested, and unfortunately it was closed, but we found something even cooler. And they're doing these sculptured koalas that are scattered all over the area, and they give you a little map with where they all are. And we spent the next 2 days walking around and driving around Port Macquarie and finding these koalas and taking a photo with every koala, and Mark absolutely loved it, to the point we were in the car on the way home and my mum was coming up from Melbourne. So mum's about a 7.5 hour drive. Takes about 8 hours by the time you stop for petrol and etc. from home. And we haven't seen my mother since July last year. And we're in the car on the way home and Mark's really tired and he's like, I want to bring Nana up to see the koalas. And we're like, mate, I'm really, really sorry, but we can't bring Nana up here. It's too far. It's like 5-hour drive. It's too far. But I want to bring my Nana here to see all the koalas. So I finally said to him, I said, look, we took all the photos. How about we go and print them all off and make a photo album for Nana, and then she can flick through them whenever she wants. So he was happy with that, and that settled him down. Probably need to clean this out. I probably shouldn't use my metal tweezers, but that's all I really have on me at the moment. I found a really good use for those cheap plastic tweezers you get in some kits. They're really good for cleaning your tip out, because I've got the everlasting tip in mine, and you're not meant to use your tweezers or anything metal because it can scratch it. So the plastic tweezers that you get in kits are really good because they don't scratch, but they're a little bit more solid than putting tweezers in. Not tweezers, toothpicks. So yeah, he absolutely loved finding the koalas, and then it was raining and he's like, I want to go for a swim. I'm like, well, that doesn't matter, it's raining and you're going to get wet in the pool anyway. So after we found a couple of koalas, and then we went to we ended up going to the Port Macquarie Museum, which was really good. It was really interesting. It was kind of funny walking through going, oh, I know what that is. My Nana had one of them. Ah, that's what I hold my gate open with. That's an old iron. So that was fun. And then it got really late, so we hubby wanted to take us to a bakery, but it was closed by the time we got there. So we went and got takeaway, and we're like, oh, we'll just sit out the front of this takeaway place and eat, until Mark kept falling off the chairs because they were like these benches, they were really high. So we just went back and had a swim, and then once we'd had a swim, my brother had called, and he's been making his way up the east coast of Australia. And he's like, look, my fridge is broken in my van. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I need to go further north, or do I stay here and wait for Sunday morning for the shop to open, but the repairers are not going to be around. We're like, where are you? He goes, I'm at Port Macquarie Airport. You're like, mate, you're 2 minutes from us. Meet us at this place. We'll go and plug your fridge into the power, because his fridge he can plug straight into the power point. I'm like, we'll go and plug. He's like, I've just done a food shop. I'm like, right, we'll go and plug your fridge in our room. You can come out with us to hunt some koalas, and we'll grab dinner, and if you want, you can just stay in our room because we've got a spare single bed. So that's what he did. He met up with us. We went and put his fridge, connected it to the power point, took it out of the van, and went spotting koalas, which Mark just absolutely loved, because we didn't think we'd see my brother again. He had a few stops he wanted to do, and he wanted to be a bit further north, but with his fridge breaking, he's like, whatever. So that was funny until we were in one room. So it was a queen bed and 2 singles in one room, and trying to get Mark to sleep at night because he was just so excited to be in a motel and to be away. So I said, look, why don't you boys go for a walk while I try and get Mark asleep? And they were only gone about, 10-15 minutes. And apparently they had sat on an ant's nest, and they both came in slapping their legs. My brother had been bitten in some not very nice places, but the ants, I'm like, whatever, you're back, whatever, we'll just deal with it. So he stayed with us that night and then headed off to try and get his fridge fixed, which he couldn't. He ended up heading north, but then ran into some friends that were able to fix it for him. And yeah, that was our visit to Port Macquarie. The Sunday we went and found some more koalas that were at a koala hospital, and then we hung around because of COVID. You had to book in. It was free, but you had to book in. So we hung around and we went to and had a look through the koala hospital at some of the koalas. They've still got a couple of koalas from the major bushfires we had in 2019 that are in rehab. There's some that will never go out of the hospital. They are sanctioned there now because they have been too badly damaged due to the fires. And then we took the long drive home. And Monday morning was the best. Well, Monday afternoon was the best because my mum drove up from country Victoria. Like I said, it's about an 8-hour drive from her place. And we got to have time with Nana for a whole week. It was Mark's birthday. He loved the fact that Nana was here for his birthday. And we had an awesome time. Except for my poor mum. So Monday, by the time she got in, and then Mark got home, and it was just Nana, 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 Nana. And then Tuesday, I don't know what we did. Tuesday, I let Mark have another day off school. He's a bit spoilt, but I'm like, you haven't spent time with your family. You're only in like the first year of primary school. You're spending time with your Nana. So he wanted to go to the zoo, but he had swimming in the afternoon. I'm like, we're not going to be able to get into the zoo and back in time for swimming. So we ended up taking him 10-pin bowling, and he loved that. He thought it was great. So we did 10-pin bowling, and we went to the shops, and he got a toy from Nana, and he had swimming, which he was like, Nana, did you see how well I'm swimming? He's just been Nana, Nana, Nana. And then Wednesday he went to school, and it was his birthday. And I decided to send him because I wasn't doing a big party for him this year. We were just having his godmother, her kids, her mum, and the grandparents round for lunch. So I thought, if you go to school, what they do, because you're not allowed to send any food to school now, is they do a bucket of like fruit icy poles. and they get one for each member of the class and a balloon. So we did that, and the teacher sent a video through of everyone singing happy birthday to him, which was really lovely. And I took my mum out for lunch, and she's like, okay, well, we're in Cronulla. I better go and walk along the beach in Cronulla to say, you know, I've walked along the Cronulla beach, because it's quite, you know, it's quite well, you know, well known in the area for Cronulla Beach. So we were just going to dip our toes in until this big wave came in and wet all of the bottom of her pants and her crutch. And then we had to pick Mark up from school with Nana with a wet crutch. And I'm like, Mark, guess what? Nana wet her pants. And she's like, no, I didn't. Tuesday was annoying too, because we went and printed the photos out before bowling, because we got there a little bit early. And then we forgot to pick the photos up. So got home, started to make lunch, and I remembered I had forgot to drop Papa's hubby's dry cleaning off. I had forgot to pick up the photos, so I ran out and did all that. Well, him and Nana had lunch, and yeah, so that was Wednesday. Thursday, Mark just had school, and I think Wednesday Mark got to pick what takeaway he wanted for his birthday, and we had a cake at home and sang him happy birthday, and he got to open all his presents when he got home from school, so he was just excited to play with all his new toys. And then Thursday afternoon we went to the river, and poor Mum, we were building a castle and like a moat around it, and we needed something to cart the water because Mummy didn't bring a bucket again. So I went up the car to grab the rubbish bin out of the car, and I come back and Nana's sitting down on the mat, and something stung her in the foot. So she's had a really, really sore foot. She's been on antihistamines and cortisone cream to try and take the sting out of it. So poor Nana's been hobbling around. And then we had to cut the trip to the river short, because Australia has lots of biting, stinging things that can be quite bad. So we cut that short and came home and dosed Nana up with antihistamines, and it was still quite sore on the Saturday. She went and got more cream and more antihistamines. So that was good. And then Friday, Mum and I just cleaned the house because we had people around Saturday, and did some cooking. And Saturday we had people round, which was lovely. It was a nice afternoon. We cooked some meat on the coals, and we all ate and drank. And we had one of Mark's little friends come over as well. So we did egg and spoon races with smasher eggs, and the boys decorated their own cakes. So it was just a chocolate cake with the middle cut out, and we filled it with jelly and made it like a volcano with dinosaurs and lollies all over it. And the boys loved doing that. And then I gave them the dig things that you've got to dig a dinosaur out of an egg. So they did that as well. And it was just a really lovely day. The weather was perfect. It wasn't too hot. And Sunday we took Mum into the Botanical Gardens in Sydney, and we had lunch looking at the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. And it was just really, it was a really, really lovely day. It wasn't too hot. There was a nice cool breeze off the river, off the ocean, the bay there. And that was really nice. And then Nana's gone home, and Mummy's a bit lost because her dishwasher's left and her tidier's left, and I'm back to doing it all on my own. I have to do my washing on my own and my dishes on my own, because, you know, every time I turn around, Nana was up doing dishes. I'm like, leave them. No, I want to do them. So we had a very, very lovely trip with our Nana. And because I haven't seen Mum since July last year, and we only see each other a couple of times a year before COVID, I just didn't get onto video. It was more important for me. I'm sorry to all you lovely subscribers. I do love you very much, but it was more important to spend some time with my mum. So that's been my crazy couple of weeks. And then got a few more things coming up in the next couple of weeks too. So trying to get back into a routine, trying to get my videos pre-recorded for some of them. Wip and Chat I do each week, but some of them I can pre-record, which makes it a little bit easier. So that's going to be my drama this week. Oh, that's what we also did. Mummy had to go, I had to go up to the doctor's for some blood tests because I'd been sick. And the blood test ended up into the glucose sugar test. And if any of you have done that, you've got to drink that horrid sugary glucose syrup, and they get bloods taken, 3 rounds of bloods, and you've got to wait an hour in between. And while we're up at the doctor's, because I thought I was going up there for like 10 minutes to get bloods taken, and that was it. And we ended up there for nearly 3 hours. And I called hubby and said, look, you know, they want me to do it. If I don't do it now, then I'm going to not come back, because I really should have had it done. And apparently I need to have the glucose test done every year now. If I still want to have children, I'm meant to have it every year. And I'm like, ugh. I just hate waiting around the doctors, at least because of COVID, and because I had my mum with me, I was allowed to wait in the car. I didn't have to sit in the doctor's office, which was nice, and the car was parked right out the front anyway, so that was a little bit of a bonus. All good. I don't have diabetes. Almost everything was fine. I've got a couple more tests coming up in the next week, and hopefully everything's going to come back fine. So, but poor mum got to spend some of her holiday just sitting in the doctor's office with me without a phone, because I said to her when we dropped Mark off in the morning, no, you don't need your handbag. We're just dropping Mark off, and then I'll drop you back home. And she's like, well, I'll come to the doctor's with you. And she left a handbag here. So anyway, we got there. Everything should be fine. I shouldn't have any. I've just got to wait for a couple more test results and see what they bring in, but I'm not too worried. The doctor doesn't seem to be too concerned. He just wants to do it as a precaution. But that's been my crazy 2 weeks. It's been really nice doing some work on this, and I might actually have to take it inside now and do some more work on it, because I haven't worked on it for ages. But hopefully we'll see how the day. I might still have time. I might get my paint pour video done this afternoon for you guys to see next week. So I hope you all have a really, really lovely week. Bye from me, and look after yourself and your loved ones, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.